For over a century, the United States has been the biggest, most powerful economy in all of human history. But here's the thing. When you actually look at the basics, like its size, its population, its resources, that level of dominance just doesn't quite add up. So how on earth did it happen? All right, let's dive into this economic mystery and see if we can piece together the clues. Just to give you a sense of the sheer scale we're talking about, get this. The United States created more wealth in just the last 2 decades than the entire planet did in the first 1,700 years of the Common Era. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. This isn't just regular growth. This is a kind of historical explosion that really needs an explanation. And this is where the puzzle gets really interesting. Because on paper, the US shouldn't be the undisputed champ. It's not the biggest country by a long shot, it doesn't have the most people, and you can find other nations with way more natural resources. So if it's not the usual suspects of land, labor, or stuff in the ground, what's the secret variable in the equation? That is the central question, isn't it? What was the secret sauce? We're going to look past all the obvious stuff and really try to unpack the hidden engine that's been driving this absolutely unprecedented economic machine. So, it's time to get into it. We're going to investigate the core components that experts say power this empire, and we're going to examine the evidence one piece at a time. So, the experts tend to believe the answer lies in four big interconnected pillars. Two of them are really about the mechanics of money, the incredible power of its financial markets, and the fact that the dollar is the king of all currencies. And the other two? They're all about people, a unique openness to immigration that just supercharges innovation, and a deep-seated culture of risk-taking. Let's break these down. First up is financial firepower. U.S. markets are the deepest and broadest on Earth. What that really means is that money can find good ideas faster here than pretty much anywhere else. An entrepreneur with a great concept can raise millions for a new company in a matter of weeks, not years. That fuels a pace of innovation that's just incredibly difficult for anyone else to keep up with. Next, you've got the power of the U.S. dollar. It's the world's reserve currency, which creates this massive snowball effect. Think about it. Oil, commodities, most international business, it's all priced in dollars. So basically, every country and every major company needs to have and use dollars. This global demand just keeps reinforcing the dollar's top spot, making it really, really hard for any other currency to even come close. Now, these two things, immigration and innovation, they're really two sides of the same coin in the American story. By welcoming more migrants than other developed countries, the U.S. gets this constant flow of new talent, fresh ideas, and just pure ambition. It's not just a boost in population, it's like a direct shot of adrenaline into the engine of innovation. This quote perfectly captures another key advantage: incredibly efficient specialization. The American system is just exceptionally good at letting people focus on what they do best. Brain surgeons do surgery, and finance people move money. This intense division of labor creates a kind of efficiency that gives the U.S. a huge economic edge. And holding all of this together is something you can't really put on a spreadsheet. It's the culture. In a lot of places, failure is a permanent mark against you, but in America, it's often seen as just a part of the process, almost like a badge of honor on the way to success. This willingness to embrace risk, from the founder in their garage to the investor on Wall Street, that's the cultural bedrock of this entire system. But, of course, no story is ever that simple. The very system that created all of this success is now facing some really serious challenges, both from the inside and from the outside. You have to wonder, are the foundations starting to shift? And here's the first major crack in that foundation. Remember that staggering amount of wealth we talked about at the beginning? Well, it's not being shared very evenly. An increasingly tiny percentage of the population now holds a huge majority of the nation's wealth. And that raises some serious questions about the fairness and, frankly, the long-term stability of the very system that created it. At the same time, you've got this challenge from the outside. The world has changed. The U.S. isn't the only economic superpower on the block anymore. And this brings up a really fundamental question. Can a system that was built for an era of total American dominance still work in a world where it has to share the spotlight? So all of this brings us to the end of our investigation. But it doesn't bring us to a neat and tidy conclusion. Instead, we're left with a final, massive question mark, just hanging over the future. Ultimately, it all boils down to this one question. After a century of unbelievable success built on this unique model, what happens if the empire stops working for its own people? The answer to that is going to define the next 100 years.